Now we'll look at building these T-shaped brackets. If I can get my mouse on the screen. In this region over here, you can see that's a one style of bracket that has been created, and I encourage you, if you have better ideas about how you might want to design that, to make an attempt. You can see over on this side of where it's attached to the actual curtain wall panel, and you'll notice that it's mirrored, so there's a left and right, so there's two on each panel, and they are the same bracket, just mirrored from one side to the other. So we only need to make one bracket, but it'll appear with mirrored symmetry. And these are T-slots along here. We've incorporated, if you look in our extrusion that we've created, we have this slotted area. And if I go out to a web page, I've indicated how that T-slot might function. You can see a bolt in here and a nut, and that's a T-slot in the aluminum extrusion. So let's go ahead and start working on making that bracket up. So we'll go ahead and go out to open up a new family element, and that's going to be a generic model. And we'll save that with a name right away so we don't forget it. Save it as a family into our folder that we've created, and we'll call that bracket. And this is just going to be two extrusions. So we have some general ideas about the size of our elements, and we can use that to kind of guide our construction here. So we're in a top view. Let's actually go to a front view of this, and I'll zoom extents, and we'll come into that reference point, and we're going to create our bracket, our piece that comes out, and I'm going to use that just so that we have a reference of what we want to. It's not going to allow me to construct in this mode. So I might just go back. I'll go back to plan view, and we'll make our top bracket. Our material is 2 inches wide, or our extrusion, and we'll make this bracket 6 inches deep. Our pocket overall is 9 inches deep, so I'll make this just 2 inches to start with, and we'll complete that out, and we'll go to our left view and zoom it, and you can see now we have a piece of extrusion that's quite deep. We really only want this to be 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to make a reference line. I'll draw it here, and then I'll move it up 1/4 of an inch. And then I'll pull this down till we can touch that reference line. That makes our part 1/4 of an inch. We'll look at that in a 3D view. Now we have that as a reference point. We can also look in the front view now. We really want to create a bracket that goes up and down. Remember, we haven't put any holes in or anything, and we can go back and continually modify this bracket. So we're going to create an extrusion again. And this time we're going to kind of work up and down. I'm just going to come up here. I want to come up, let's say we want to go up 6 inches to, I'm going to say 6 inches. I'm going to make this bracket a little bit differently this time, and we'll go down 6 inches. We'll probably have to make that a single line, but we'll do that in a second. We'll come over here 2 inches because that's the thickness of our and we might like to make this whole thing a bit deeper, a little more robust. So I'm going to draw an angle here. Well, I won't do it that way. Let's go ahead and draw another reference line. We're going to delete some lines, but let's say we want to make this twice as wide. So I'm going to come out 4 inches here. And then we're going to go ahead and use that as a guide to connect these points. I'm going to go ahead and delete a few of these lines and connect these just so we don't have additional lines. Okay, and we'll complete that out. And we'll go to left view to see how that actually looks. And that's very thick, and we want to move that down so that it's a 1/4 inch thick. And we'll do the same thing we did with the other. We'll make another reference line. And we'll just move it over 1/4 inch. Or we'll try to. Let's see here. It's not allowing me to. Isn't that frustrating? I think I've locked it to it. So I might just copy it over. And then go back and delete the other one. Going to delete that one. Now I have that 1/4 inch thickness. I'll pull, oops. I'll pull this back. I'm going to zoom in here so I can grab my. So that's now a 1/4 inch thick. This element is going to actually touch the face of that. And let's take a look at that in a 3D view again. Alright, so now we have our bracket, and this actually looks a little not quite as robust a hanging point. We had some slotted elements in there. So we'll take a look at that in the top elevation, and we'll just stretch that out. Let's go back and look at that in a 3D view again. Alright, so now we have our clip assembly without holes in it. And we want to put a few holes in so that we can attach bolts to it. So let's first of all work on the front face one. We'll go ahead and click into that and edit it. Look at it from the front elevation. We'll create, grab a model line. We want to create some holes. And I'm going to go ahead and start at a reference point and make a, that's a 1/4 inch, so that's a half inch in diameter hole. And then we're going to go ahead and move that into the face of the material. So we want to come over, and because it's 2 inches thick, the channel is actually 1 inch in, the center line of that channel. Let's go back and look at that drawing and make sure that in fact is how that happens. So this is 2 inches, so we're lining up to the 1 inch point there. And then we'll just move that into the bracket. Let's just come in a half inch with the first one, and then we'll make a duplicate, and we'll come down, let's say 2 inches. We've got 2 holes there now. We'll grab those, and we'll create another set on the other side. And we'll go ahead and look at that complete that off. And look at that in a 3D view. And now we've got to create some slots on the top piece. So let's go ahead now and go in and edit this. I'm thinking that we'll make a little bit of a rectangle. We'll make that rectangle. Oh, that hates when I do that. So let's just undo that. I'm trying to figure out a way that makes this easy to understand without creating too many reference lines. I'm going to stop here and make a second video because I want to strategize a little bit about how to make these slotted openings in here, and we'll call that a second, we'll put that into a second clip.